In the Gospels, Jesus is called by many different names. Among the most commonly used are teacher and rabbi. In Jesus' day, a teacher or a rabbi would gather around him a group of disciples or followers that intended to learn from him. In this passage that we're examining today, Luke tells us about some of Jesus' first followers. The story begins one day when Jesus was teaching by a lake, and many people were there that day, and they were crowding in around Jesus, so much so that he finally had to get into a boat to keep from being pushed into the water. The boat was owned by a man named Simon, or Simon Peter. We know him simply as Peter. Jesus sat down in the boat and began to teach the people. And it's interesting to imagine the scene as the people crowded around the shore just to hear a few words from this new teacher. Not long before this, the people of Jesus' hometown had rejected him and his teachings, but here we see people that were eager to hear, people who wanted to know more about Jesus and about the message that he was bringing. Well, after he had finished teaching, Jesus told Simon to take the boat out into the deep water and to let down the nets. Well, Simon was reluctant to do this at first. They had fished all night, had caught nothing, but he still did as Jesus asked. Jesus was not demanding in his request, but there must have been something about Jesus that caused this tough career fisherman to do what he said. So Simon went out into the lake and he let down the nets, and to his great surprise brought in a large number of fish. In fact, brought in so many that they had to call for help. Well, Simon's response is very interesting. He says nothing about the fish. He simply fell to his knees and he said, "O Lord, please leave me, for I'm such a sinful man." We know from other events recorded in the Gospels that Simon did indeed have weaknesses, but here he freely admitted them. He takes this responsibility upon him, and it takes a pretty big person to admit when you're wrong. But that didn't stop Simon. He realized that he had often made mistakes and was willing to admit those. But when he saw the fish, he was aware that Jesus had a special power that came from God. And in the presence of Jesus, Simon also realized his own unworthiness. Jesus, however, did not dwell upon Simon's weaknesses. He simply reached down and lifted him up and gave him a new direction in life. And that was to be a fisher of men, to catch men rather than fish. At this point, Simon and his business partners, James and John, left their nets. They left the boats behind, and they became full-time followers of Jesus. Although he isn't mentioned here in Luke's account, Simon's brother Andrew was probably there as well. And like the others that we read about in the Gospels who later became followers of Jesus, these simple fishermen must have seen something in Jesus that compelled them to leave their old life behind and follow after Jesus. But there's another very important lesson that we can take from this account. For we see that when Jesus began his earthly ministry and started looking for his first followers, notice that he did not go to the highly educated. He did not go to the religious elite of the day. He went to those who were just common, everyday people like you and I. He went to those who had weaknesses. He went to those who recognized that even though that there were times that they made mistakes, there were times that they did fall short of God's glory by way of sin, these were individuals who were willing to place their faith in Jesus. When they recognized that he is the Messiah, they placed their full focus, their full devotion into Jesus Christ. And they left everything behind, and they followed after him. Friends, we want to thank you for joining us for our program today. We pray that you will consider the things that we've discussed on this program and that God will bless you with a wonderful day.